Let's see who's here. Whoa.
What's up, man? How
What's
are
up?
you? Man.
Welcome to the penthouse.
I'd say this is nice, but that would be an understatement.
I appreciate it.
This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
It's fun.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, John Spencer Ellis. Once again, we have an incredible show for you. It's time to learn and have a good time. I'm here with my good friend, Vince Reed.
What's going on, my friend?
I'm ready, man. I'm excited. You're a smart, interesting dude.
I'm just excited to be here, man.
Well, awesome. Let's start at the beginning. I'm not talking about your birth, but like at the beginning of your business or adulthood journey. What kind of careers have you had?
Well, I definitely was not an entrepreneur from the beginning. My dad was a blue collar, put a suit and tie on and go to work each and every day. And I actually thought that was going to be my path. Just kind of start with some company and work my way up to the top. And, was an athlete growing up in high school, went to college on a football scholarship. And
okay, I was going to ask what sport? Football?
Yeah, I played football. I thought I was going to be running footballs on Sundays. It didn't work out. So I got out of school and I desperately did not want to be that guy that was working at the grocery store and everybody's like, there's that guy that was good in high school. I didn't want the Al Bundy thing going on. For those of you who remember that show.
Yeah, but he did score four touchdowns
in one game.
In Polk High School, right?
Yeah.
See, we know these things. It's important.
I know that. So I didn't want to be Al Bundy. So outside, when I got out of college, I fell into real estate. And my first job was at ING Direct. It was a bank.
Oh, yeah.
And we would open up savings account. If they had a savings account, you would sell them a mortgage. If they had a mortgage account, you get them to set up a savings account. And I was making $24,000 a year, and that was my first job really, learning the real estate industry. And you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
All right. So from there, I basically was taking a lot of loan applications, because this was back in like 2004, 2005. Everybody was refinancing. The mortgage industry was hot, but I was just a teller. I wasn't getting paid on all of that. So my cousin was a broker, and one day he's like, how much in loan revenue have you funded in terms of applications? And it was something ridiculous, because it was a bank. It was so crazy, by the way.
Many millions.
Many millions. It was so crazy. You'd be on this headset, and you didn't answer the phone. The person would hang up, it would beep, and there'd be another person on the phone.
Wow.
Beep, another person on the phone. And I think that's really what got me really used to speaking to people and understanding money and their problems. Long story short, my cousin's like, man, if you would have, working for a broker and you were actually doing those deals, you would have made like $100,000 this month.
Wow.
And I'm like, man,
this
that sounds,
month?
Yeah, this month.
Jeez.
And I'm like, that sounds a lot better than the $2,000 a month I'm making now. So I quit my job and I started working at this broker company, and I did really well. From there, I went with a guy who left that company to start his own brokerage. And from there, he taught me the business, and I went and started my own mortgage company until it crashed. And then that's when the tears started.
So was your personal crash in 2008 or 9?
It started in 2007.
Okay.
My personal crash was really the end of 2006 and all of 2007. You kind of try to hang on. But, I kind of went online. I'm like, man, enough's enough. And I just started typing online how to make money on the internet. And that's kind of where I ran into an ad that started everything. It said, make money on Google. And that sounded a lot better than flipping burgers.
It's funny, even today, I still will do that search to see what other people are offering.
Yeah, smart.
Because I know there's things I don't know.
Absolutely.
And I want to see how other people are interpreting the opportunity, how to make money online.
And you'll find all types of things. I tell people this all the time, especially people that learn from me marketing. I just got lucky. I found a mentor that just knew marketing really, really well. I could have found the spammer guy and the guy who tells you to scrape email list, and and I would have been my path would have been totally different. I just got lucky and found the right mentor.
So what was the big lesson when the crisis happened in 2007, 8, 9? For you personally, what was the big takeaway of, I need to take control?
It was, and I talk about this all the time. It was learning how to be an invaluable resource. Because no matter how good you were back then, at least the industry that I was focused on, which was the subprime lending industry, and all the banks went out of business, every broker basically fell off the earth, and no matter what, I couldn't get the deal done. Even if a person was like, hey, we want to get this done, it was done. I was dependent on the banks, and I made a vow to myself to never be dependent on anyone else. So be an invaluable resource, not just a resource.
Okay, so be memorable and irreplaceable.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so then after that, you kind of reinvented yourself and shifted or pivoted, as the current entrepreneur lingo is. I pivoted. I didn't shift. I didn't turn. I pivoted.
I don't even know if I want to call it a pivot. I fell into it. Yeah, okay. I mean, I found this ad that said make money on Google. Long story short, it was a lady selling an ebook. And to get her learn how to market on Google ebook, I had to join her $2,000 direct sales company. So I ended up not doing that. I stumbled upon another person where same kind of process. But the difference was the guy who I ended up basically spending the $2,000 that I didn't have to learn Google AdWords was actually advertising on Google. Everywhere that I would search, I would see his ads. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. So that's kind of where it started.
Wow. And so how soon before you felt you were going to make it? After you did the Google thing?
You know, in my head, the next day, right? I'm gonna be rich, right? But it took some time. I mean, there was a lot of this going on. I mean, I can remember my girlfriend who during this time was paying bills, and without her, I would have been literally homeless. And every month it was like, trust me, this is gonna work, and it'd be a flop. And I ended up having to short sell my house and get rid of my car. And I mean, it was some rough times learning this. But a lot of that money I was reinvesting back in the business, buying courses, testing things, running ads. But one thing I did know was that there were other people out there doing it. Mm-hmm. I knew that if I just mastered the skill set, that I could be successful.
I was just thinking when I first started too, and there's people who definitely had it rougher, just a very challenging start. I slept on the floor of a studio apartment, didn't have a bed because I didn't have enough money to buy a bed. And I used to put my car in neutral to coast downhill to save gas. I swear I did. And so when you say that kind of stuff, I get it and I remember that. And at the time I'm thinking, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. But now that you're in the position you're in now, do you appreciate that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. I mean, there's actually a chapter in my book, I call it Walking 10 Miles in the Snow. So most of us, if you're my age, you had parents that always said they had it tougher than you.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that for entrepreneurs today. Even putting up a simple capture page, there was no ClickFunnels and all these things. You had to go pay a person, and half the time when you get it back, the opt-in page was over here, the video was over here, and you were out of $500 you didn't have.
I used to pay $100 for about one line of HTML,
right.
And it was all raw code. There was no WYSIWYG stuff. Didn't
Absolutely.
exist.
So it was so much harder than it is today. And I think that's why, there are what I call a lot of dinosaurs in our space. Like the people that are making money have been around for a while, mm-hmm. But then you get the people that are out quickly because they expect it to be so easy and they haven't gone through a lot of things that we've probably experienced. So,
well, I think, if you can stay the course, then, that's a big part of it. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have ADD. That's part of our challenge, and we want to do a lot of different things, but it's important to stay focused. As you've grown your business and you're kind of moving into this new space now, what are some of the things that you're letting go of so you can better focus?
Taking on every single project that comes my way.
So you can say no more easily.
I say no a lot, and I don't like to. A lot of people take pride, say no to everything. I really wish I could say yes to everything, but I realize that you are what you focus on, 100%. I mean, if you put all your energy into something, you're going to have more success in that. And I think for me, I had to realize that me taking on all these projects was basically slowing down the path of the goals that I had for companies that we were building. And that's been the number one thing I think that I've been able to, shift recently.
Do you sleep better?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Because sometimes you don't realize how challenged you are until you make those changes. Absolutely. I mean, the more I let go of, release, the easier it is for me. And as an example, now having everything here in the penthouse where it's my home, it's where we do masterminds, it's where we do charity events, it's where we do art exhibitions,
right.
And now it's also where we film this show. It seems complex because this place is crazy, but it actually has unified my effort, mm-hmm. Because now I'm not out chasing everything. Now this is the hub of operation. Mm-hmm. And so you can have varying degrees of success, but the cost to create that is minimized because it's centralized. And the same thing is true, I guess, is what you're saying.
I mean, you've created an attraction marketing tool. It's attracting things
talk
to
about
you.
talk about that. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, today influencers look at it as, oh, it's an influencer, and we follow these individuals, but ultimately they're just showing you a window into their life and their world, and they're attracting prospects and clients to them. And that's basically what you're doing when you're marketing. It's much better to be in a position where you're attracting clients to you versus always feeling like you're chasing them, and that's what you've created here.
Yeah, so I've heard it described a couple different ways, that you want to be like a vacuum to where everything comes to you, or I've heard it described as you want to be a boat and create a wake and then the water falls back in behind you.
So true.
So either, whatever metaphor, I mean, entrepreneurs are so great at metaphors, at least we think we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anything that you can do to help illustrate the point, that definitely helps. Let's talk a little bit about your family.
Love to.
Okay, so tell me, who's in your family? What does that consist of?
Well, my close family, my wife and my 2 kids, they pretty much, control everything. And they're the only people that can slow me down. I can be working going 100 miles an hour. My daughter walks in, or my wife walks in with my son, who's 6 months as of today when we're shooting this. It doesn't matter what's going on. That's pretty much the only thing that can slow me down. So I love those guys, and I'm definitely a family guy.
And so you work from home, but if I remember correctly, I heard you say not long ago that you were contemplating an office.
Right.
You had experimented with that in the past, correct?
Absolutely.
Where are you at right now with that?
We're definitely outgrowing the house, but I'm looking at possibly either getting a bigger home and stay there, or going out and getting in some space. I think just the nature of the businesses that we're launching now, we're going to need some more room.
Are you thinking about maybe coming to Las Vegas?
Hey, the taxes aren't too bad here, I've heard. So
I've heard they're non-existent.
I've heard that. So if I can talk the wife into it, I'd love it.
Hey, there's some beautiful areas here, and I know that where you're at now is also stunning. It's exceptional. The weather's great. Sometimes we do things for family. Sometimes we do things for business, and sometimes we have to figure out a compromise.
Yeah, I mean, hey, everything's on the table. While we're here, you can sell me a little bit on that.
All right, I'm going to. Well, we're going to talk about that at the break. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to talk a little bit about how Vince has been able to scale his business as quickly as he has. He may say, well, it hasn't been that fast. It's been pretty impressive, and we're going to find out how he did it and some takeaways for you right after this. Go nowhere. Hi, my name is John Spencer Ellis, and I want to help you reach all of your personal, professional, physical, and financial goals. You have greatness within you, and sometimes you just need a coach, a trainer, and a mentor to help you realize your full potential. Since the age of 12, I have immersed myself in the study and practice of maximizing human potential, physically, mentally, personally, professionally, and financially. I believe you and I have so much to offer, to experience, and to give to the world. It's time for you to step into your brilliance and shine like you're supposed to right now. I invite you to learn how I can help you reach your goals and dreams. Thanks for your time. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Show. In this next segment, we're going to talk about another common phrase in the entrepreneurial world, scaling. We've never heard that one before, have you?
I've never heard that. What about crush it?
Crush it, yeah, and I'm on beast mode. That's another one.
You're killing it.
I'm killing it too. That's another good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, but right now we're just going to talk about scaling because that is a real thing.
Yes.
Crushing it is very subjective, but scaling can be measurable.
It can.
Okay, so scaling means basically you're growing your business. It's not the same thing year after year after year. You're doing very well with that. How are you doing that? What are your secrets?
So I want to try to make it like practical so people can kind of understand. Good. A lot of times people will, in the online marketing world, they'll go, okay, we're scaling it, and they will build funnels, and you sell this thing, and then you sell this thing, and then this thing, and then the high ticket thing, right? That definitely works, and obviously you can scale a company that way. But what I found over the years, and I've been doing this full time since 2008, and when I say full time, working from home as an online entrepreneur, I found that I've fallen into different ways to scale a company, And I've just learned different things from different entrepreneurs. So for example, when I got started, the thing that drove me the most about lead generation was the fact that when I was in real estate, I had to buy my own leads. So I was spending $50 on every lead and then giving them to loan officers to go sell a loan. When I learned how to do that myself, I realized I could generate that same lead for a couple bucks, right? So that was an aha moment. So I started generating leads and selling products. That's what I knew. That's what I thought you had to do. So as you continue to evolve and where I am today, we've gone from simply generating leads to sell products, which we do to this day, to linking up with different corporations and different businesses and helping them basically generate leads for their business. So basically, they will buy the leads from us, almost like you could say like a lead broker. So it's just an evolution. It's not like you kind of just see where the problem is. It's like, okay, this business, they don't want to learn how to do it themselves. They just want it done for them. So then you have these people that start digital agencies. Well, it's like, well, we don't really want to have to service all those clients. What if we just found businesses that just want a lead and then they were willing to buy it from us and we could do that at mass scale? So that's kind of one of the ways that we've scaled. So to make it work for you, I would just look at what you're doing now and figure out different verticals within your own business that maybe you aren't really looking at.
So if someone is brand new, describe a vertical.
Okay, so a vertical would be like, for example, let's say I'm generating leads for a mortgage company and I'm selling those mortgage leads and mortgage companies are buying them. Then if I have any experience, I could, one, go acquire a mortgage branch and now I'm funneling those leads to my own mortgage company. Or partnering with someone that has a company and now I'm selling leads and now I'm funneling them to another company that I own. Same industry, you just found a different vertical to like expand into scale.
See, now for me in my verticals, and correct me if I'm wrong because I have a different interpretation perhaps. So for my fitness education company, the primary certification is personal trainer certification. Probably they also want to learn about nutrition. It's still under the same umbrella of my association, but the next vertical column is nutrition certification.
I would call that a vertical. Okay. It'd be the same thing. It's in the same space. It's something that easily falls along with what you're already doing.
Okay.
Where I find a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong is that when we talk about that whole pivot thing, they completely pivot out of their space. It would be like me going from generating leads to then trying to go into fitness, right? All of a sudden I like working out, I want to start a fitness company. Now maybe if I wanted to go into fitness, I found a person like you that was into fitness and I said, hey, do you need more leads for your fitness business? And we worked out a deal where I could get into the fitness space, but I'm still doing what I feel like I'm the best in the world at.
Yeah, and so, and also the other thing about when you pivot too far, sometimes it's great, but if you pivot too far, you're starting from zero that you can't carry over the momentum from what you've been doing before, and you're like, okay, I don't have any skills, experience, leads, contacts, websites, backlinks, anything like that in this space.
Right.
So I'm starting from scratch, which sometimes can be good because if you made mistakes before, you can start fresh at the bottom with all the fresh, good knowledge you have now. But sometimes it's such a departure, you're thinking, what happens, it's funny, I actually learned this lesson from my dad. He says, what was the phrase he used? But basically, don't neglect what has been your cash cow. If it's working for you, keep working it while you're working in something else.
Right.
Otherwise, it will dwindle, and that's what's actually funding these new ideas.
Absolutely. One of my mentors would say, keep your foot on the throat of the business you have. Another term that people say is sometimes people step over $100 bills chasing nickels or pennies or dollars or whatnot.
Right.
And that happens a lot because they see somebody else what they perceive as an easier, better way, and that can sometimes be distracting. And that's kind of where that whole focus thing, where we were talking about earlier, comes into play, just staying focused in on what it is that you're doing.
So what do you do now to maintain focus? So I actually will have an external auditory conversation with myself, meaning that I talk to myself aloud. I probably sound nuts, but I will literally say, John, pay attention, focus. What's the highest use and best use of your time? Hoo-boo. What is it? And then let that stuff go. I have to say it aloud, so I stop myself from doing stupid crap that takes me away from the highest use and best use of my time. What strategy do you use that gets you back on task?
It was harder 4 or 5 years ago because I just had this, I want to do everything. But today it's a little bit easier because we've kind of set up in our office with our team, we have projects. And we all just kind of focus in on specific projects at a time before we jump over to another thing. And sometimes a great idea will come up and I literally will just say, we're not doing that until we finish this. So I'm pretty focused and driven already, so I don't really often have to do that. But if we do, everybody knows to just pull us back in sync and just kind of focus in on what is it we're working on. Very, very much so task-based.
And I'm going to hallucinate here for a minute that your business is well established, you've done very, very well, and if you worked for it, now that you have that foundation, the business foundation, the framework foundation, the financial foundation, it takes the stress to some degree off pivoting to something else, because if for some reason it didn't work, we don't like to think of that, but let's just say for a moment that it didn't work, you're still good. You can go back to what you're doing immediately, so there's not that stress of, man, I got to make this work or my family is going to be, on the streets.
Right.
You just go back to what you're doing. You say, okay, let's just keep hustling.
Absolutely, and I was lucky and blessed at the same time to early on when I first got started to always build continuity-based businesses versus just kind of selling one-off standalone products. So that has definitely saved me in many of times throughout my career.
So if someone's new, describe continuity or reoccurring revenue models.
A continuity model would be basically you selling a product where people pay monthly to gain access to content. So you see it a lot more for whatever reason. All of a sudden, everyone has inner circles and membership sites and things like that. But we just felt like instead of selling one-off products, where you create this course or this thing and you make money now, we thought, what if we broke it up and we created a situation where people wanted to stay and it became more of a community, and that has helped us. So
just thinking about continuity, and what is the biggest continuity thing you can think of right now that everyone would be familiar with?
ClickFunnels.
Well, ClickFunnels is awesome. Russell's done it. Russell's brilliant. No, Netflix.
Oh, we're talking real. I thought we were talking about MySpace.
Oh, no.
Hands down, I would have said Netflix.
Netflix.
Absolutely.
We have someone off camera. Can you look and see how many monthly people subscribe to Netflix, and then just yell it out to us? We just broke the fourth wall here. It's all good.
The funny thing about that is when you think about it, if we're going big like that, think about Blockbuster, the opportunity they missed out on.
They didn't pivot and adapt.
That an example of a vertical, right? So they were selling videos, and all of a sudden online space came about, and they said, we just need to keep doing this, instead of saying, okay, what are they doing? We already have all the videos. Let's just go into this vertical. We're still selling movies. Let's just sell the subscription model. But they didn't see it.
Do you have the answer?
Yeah, it's 94 million paid streaming subscribers at the end of Q1 2017.
Okay, so multiply that. So say that 94 million per month. We're breaking the fourth wall, you guys. We're breaking the rules of television here, and we're going to do it anyway because this is interesting. As a host, darn it, I have the right to do that. So 94 million times 10 times 12. What is that? 94 million times $10 a month times 12 months.
It broke my calculator.
It broke his calculator. Awesome. So, which is perfect. So the point is that's called reoccurring predictable income. And that's the beautiful thing, because it's going to be there. And also, and I forget the exact amount, don't quote me on this, but I believe that if you are to sell a business that has a reoccurring business model or revenue model, as opposed to one that is one-off, you can sell it for a 3 to 5 times higher multiple. Do I have this correct?
That is true. That is true.
Than if it were just a one-off.
Absolutely, that is true.
Woo! That's a lot of money for Netflix. And now you know why they can afford all this incredible original programming as well.
Exactly. It's just amazing. Like, if you have the opportunity, if you're in a market where you're selling one-off products, and there's a way for you to flip it into continuity, I would definitely advise you to do something.
If you can do it once, you can do it again and again. And sometimes you do what's called time release, where it maybe the continuity is only for 6 months, but at least you are getting revenue for 6 months. Sometimes they call that micro continuity, where it's not in perpetuity, but sometimes also it makes it more fiscally palatable. That's my own word. Fiscally palatable, if you like that.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of $1,000, it's 10 months at $100. And you have reoccurring revenue, and if every time people join at a different time, you constantly have this flow of new people coming in at $100 a month.
Absolutely.
So micro continuity.
And let me give them a tip, something
Sure,
practical,
yeah,
because we're talking membership and it sounds, okay, let me go create a membership site. I'll just give you some advice that has helped me. If you can speak to someone, it's much better to build continuity. So I found continuity membership sites that are just like, anybody can join, this is for everyone, don't do as well as if, you are teaching karate to kids between 9 and 17, and you can actually speak their language, and it's just for them. In my opinion, if you can create continuity sites, I know one of the individuals behind the cameras is a poker player. So it would be like, I want to create a membership site teaching people Texas Hold'em who play tournaments in $50 to a $200 buy-in is a much better continuity site because you can speak directly to those individuals.
Absolutely.
And it will grow.
And there's always more to learn. There's no way that you can teach in one day, 1 week, or 1 month everything you need to know about Texas Hold'em, because you could also do a breakdown of different tournaments. Like right here, we have the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino right behind us there with Penn and Teller on the side of the building, where they hold all the tournaments, the top poker tournaments in the world. You could break down and analyze the winning strategies, the winning hands, the philosophy,
right.
And the psychology involved, and that breakdown and analysis could also be content for a membership site. Absolutely. Creating. As long as they're doing professional poker tournaments, and you can break down the video footage and analyze it, you have a never-ending cycle, right. and they do it in the fight game all the time.
Absolutely. So yeah, just be specific and be able to speak to them. So when they're watching you through the camera, they feel like you're actually talking to them.
What is the one thing that when new entrepreneurs come to you, you just wish that it wasn't an obstacle for them and they would just go after it and do what they want? What is that?
Well, because my focus is lead generation, and really, which means that people are coming to me knowing that they're going to have to spend some money, right? It's always like, what is the budget? What should I be investing? And a couple of things, that's the wrong approach to have with advertising. The real question is to figure out a way to position your marketing or your business to where you're asking, how can I spend more? Not what is the budget I can spend. So if you're putting $1 in an ATM machine, the ATM machine spits out $2. How many dollar bills are you going to put in that vending machine? You're not going to say my budget this month is $5,000, right? So getting them over that hump is the first step.
They don't believe in the guarantee.
They don't believe in that, but they have to understand how a funnel works. And now that part takes skill. It's not about, anyone can place an ad. Like, you can go get free information on Facebook ads, Twitter, YouTube, on those platforms. The key is strategy. There's so many components to running good ads that is the thing that I want people to understand. It could be your ad copy. You could be targeting people at the right product at the wrong time with the right product. There's all these different things that can happen that people don't quite get. And that's why I tell people, you need to find a good mentor, a person that really understands marketing. They can look at it as a whole, not what type of ad should I run? Should I run a video view ad or an engagement ad? Well, I don't know. I need to see what you're actually doing. So those two things, understanding how to get over your fear of actually investing in ads and realizing that it is not the platform. It all works. What you're paying for when you advertise online is the view or the click. You're not paying for them to give you money. That's your skill set. The second you saw an impression or a video view or a click, that's what you put the money into Facebook, YouTube, Twitter to get. You getting a sale comes down to you. So if you fail, it's human error. And I think that's what is hard for newbies to understand, because they go, it didn't work. You didn't work.
I got it. We're going to talk about more of this in the last segment coming up right after this commercial break, because lead generation is critical. We have a guy here who is world class. Pay attention. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're going to learn how to get more leads for your business no matter what you do. Go nowhere. Hi, my name is John Spencer Ellis, and I want to help you reach all of your personal, professional, physical, and financial goals. You have greatness within you, and sometimes you just need a coach, a trainer, and a mentor to help you realize your full potential. Since the age of 12, I have immersed myself in the study and practice of maximizing human potential, physically, mentally, personally, professionally, and financially. I believe you and I have so much to offer, to experience, and to give to the world. It's time for you to step into your brilliance and shine like you're supposed to right now. I invite you to learn how I can help you reach your goals and dreams. Thanks for your time. All right, welcome back to this final segment of the Entrepreneur Show. I'm John Spencer Ellis with Vince Reed. And right now, we're going to dive a little deeper into lead generation. Basically, how are you getting prospects for your business or someone else's business? Let's just talk about Facebook, because that is the 10,000 pound gorilla? Is that the size of this gorilla we're talking about here? 10,000 pounds. What are people doing? I'm gonna do something I normally don't do. I always try to stay positive. We're gonna go to the negative just for a second. What are people doing wrong on Facebook for lead generation? What do they need to stop?
Well, I think the number one thing is that people always say it, they're just going right for the sale too quickly. And what they have to understand about Facebook particularly, it's interruption marketing. No one's looking to buy. Have you ever woke up ever and said, I want to go on Facebook and buy anything in your life?
No.
Have you ever done it on Twitter?
No.
Okay, we don't do that, right? So I think that the hardest thing for new marketers to understand is that there's a way and an art to actually advertising the right way on social media, specifically Facebook. So what you want to do is you want to start off by trying to educate or build a relationship. We've heard this many times before, but it also comes down to who you're speaking to and how you're framing it. Because sometimes people come at people like, how many of you want to make millions of dollars online? How many of you want to do this? And they're asking these stupid questions, and you can actually turn a person off. And at that point, you're shut from them forever. So you have to know the right way to actually engage them from the very beginning. But once you get that down and you lead with the right amount of value, at that point you can make offers and you can stay in front of them with retargeting. And that's pretty much the game plan for any marketer that's doing it the right way, is just start there.
So are most people not doing enough follow-up?
Most people aren't doing any follow-up.
Okay. Now, are you an evangelist or a believer in the rule of 7? It's like 7 touch points before. So I know it's very subjective, but what do you think is reasonable?
I don't believe in that online.
Okay.
If someone has a problem, you definitely want them to be able to get your product and service now. I'm not saying on that first time that they see you can't offer your product or service. I just think it's the way in which you do it. So the beautiful thing about Facebook, since we're talking about that specifically, is that you have control. It is interruption marketing. An ad that you see on Facebook is no different than a billboard that we see on one of these hotels. The only difference is you have the ability to control who sees that billboard. Anybody driving on the freeway out there sees that billboard. On Facebook, I can say only the person 21 to 55 who's a female who likes playing poker can see this ad, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the power of it. So it's almost as if you're doing insider trading on social media, meaning I know what their problem is, I know what it is they want to do. How can I frame the information and tailor it to them, right? Versus people that are doing it wrong, they aren't very speaking to the right person. They're marketing into this broad audience, they're speaking to no one, and they're wondering why they're not making any sales.
I was just thinking about something as you're saying all this. Here in Las Vegas, this is one of the most unique places in the entire world. One of the things that is unique to Las Vegas about getting leads is people are targeted when they're planning their trip here before they arrive. They're targeted differently when they're a visitor rather than a resident. And they're even targeted differently once they leave. Because on the way in, they're saying, am I gonna go to the spa? Am I gonna go to the racetrack? What hotel am I gonna go to? Am I gonna go to Hyde? Am I gonna go see Aoki? Like all these different things. Then once they're here, like there's an exotic rentals right here. Are they gonna rent an exotic car and go have fun? What are they gonna go do for entertainment? Are they gonna see a Cirque du Soleil show? On the way back, they target them differently, saying, did you overdo it? Now you need a detox. And it's such a unique thing. So when people are thinking about targeting, it's not always people that are in their normal state. I think you can target people with different businesses based on what they're planning on doing and what they're currently doing, where they're visiting, and when they're returning from different places as well. And a lot of people aren't thinking that. Right. This gentleman right down here who has this exotic rentals, he told me that he's targeting a certain demographic of just men, because it's always the dudes that want to get the exotic car for some reason. Imagine that. And he gets them about a week in advance before they come into Vegas. And he tells this whole story about why he and his buddies will want to cruise up and down the Las Vegas Strip in a Lamborghini.
Amazing.
And by the way, you can also get a Bugatti for a day. Totally irrelevant, but very interesting. How much do you think a Bugatti costs for the day?
10 grand.
Exactly 10 grand.
Wow. See? Wow. So we're gonna go test one on you right after the show.
You know, I appreciate you treating me to that. That is very sweet of you.
Saw that last part.
Yeah.
You.
Oh, huh. I don't think so. Even the crew looks puzzled.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Back to the show.
Yeah, back to the show. So, doing stuff right on Facebook. What percentage of your ads for lead generation are video versus a still picture?
More video. Hands down, more video. Still picture, more retargeting. Mm-hmm. After they see a video, I like to lead with video and then retarget with still picture. Let me do one thing.
Yeah.
So I want to make it practical. Someone's probably out there like, well, how do I do that, right? So let's say that you sold real estate. This is an amazing penthouse that we're in right now. If I was selling real estate and I lived in this penthouse, I would do some type of video or story that was talking about how you negotiated this deal and like maybe taking me back to the very beginning, how you were telling me how this was just a shell. Mm-hmm. And I would make it about a story about how you negotiated this deal and then show the finished product. That would be the first video, because it'd be interesting, like, okay, this was a cool shell of a building, and now it looks amazing. How did that happen? And then at the end of that, I would say, hey, if you guys are interested in learning like more about investing in real estate and doing this and how to put the property in the right corporations, I got a book or I got a course, go check it out. But it didn't come at them like a normal person would say, I can teach you how to flip properties. I can show you how to buy a house.
Because you're storytelling.
Right. Then the ad that's retargeting them would be more direct. Like, hey, what's going on? You saw me tell you the story. Then you could go right to your course. You know,
I did something actually somewhat similar to what you're talking about. When I did buy this place, and it was just a shell, I did a Facebook Live every week of all the progress, because ultimately this is the home of the Penthouse Group Mastermind.
Right.
And it was very easy to sell out the group the first time because I told the story and I gave business lessons along the way. And then everyone had a vested interest in seeing this place. And in fact, some people joined just so they could come here and party.
Right.
And because they saw the progress.
And that's what they want to see. And then it shows your expertise, and people are like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He actually did it.
And it wasn't easy.
Right, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. But it was those struggles and challenges that you share that matter. When you're doing lead generation, you're talking about storytelling, what happens is sometimes people get a little caught up talking about how awesome they are and all the cool stuff. And I think it's very, very important to share the struggles and the challenges. Like example, a few years ago, I competed in the Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. I got my butt kicked. I dropped too much weight, felt horrible. I got smashed. But I showed my journey leading up to that, and even though I gave a report afterwards and said, I got punked at Worlds. I still got more fans, more feedback, more encouragement, more love than ever before because I failed. Mm. And so I think, what do you think about sharing that part of it? That
I think authority is the worst thing to lead with.
Interesting.
Personally.
Okay.
I think it's something that's more powerful when you lead with it second, third, or fourth. It's like, for example, have you ever met someone, and I know this happens to me, I'll go to an event, and I'm cool with everyone. I'll just sit in the back or in the middle with everybody, and I'll have a great weekend. And then I literally will get people be like, man, I didn't know you were Vince Street. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm normal, right? To me, that form of authority, not that I'm anything special, but my point is you don't have to always lead with that. Just provide value, post things that you do. If you have successes, post them on social media, because the person will go back and check it out. And then when they realize, man, this person was humble, to me, that's way more powerful. So if you're running an ad, in my opinion, it's better to just be normal in the beginning. And then you can have the ads that follow and show a little bit more authority. But I don't think it's necessarily the best thing on cold traffic.
So my strategy in general for lead generation for our educational companies is, in general, I will spend $3 for retargeting for every $1 I spend on a cold audience. Without knowing anything else, is that smart or crazy?
It depends.
Okay.
I'm never.
So I might be crazy.
No, I definitely think the bulk of your spend should be on retargeting.
Okay.
If that's what you're saying. Just to who? Like, is it the 50% video view audience? Is it a website visitor? You know, it depends on what they did. Because if it's a person that you're retargeting that saw 3 seconds of a video, that's not. That doesn't mean that they're a person worth spending.
Yeah. Now, okay. So tell me this then. I am only retargeting video views that are at least 75%.
That's money.
You're saying that's good?
I'm not saying that's the only thing you should do. I think that is great.
Okay.
Most people aren't thinking that way. But that's much better than targeting 3%.
The 3% or 3 second or 10 second or whatever.
Absolutely.
It just wasn't converting the same thing. I would get a lower cost per view, but my conversion rate was also lower.
Right. Well, you might not have a big enough audience with the 75 because not as many people are getting through. So what you have to do is create another segment of ads to 3%ers that warm them up and get them to the 75%.
Okay. What I have done is I will combine the 75% video view audience with another audience that is similar enough to make a big enough audience for that campaign, and that tends to work without it being confusing.
I'm not a fan of similar audiences on video views because it depends on the video. You can have an entertaining video and people just watch all the way through, and that you don't want a big audience of people that are just entertained watching all the way through. Lookalike audiences are fine, but in my opinion, they're better with like customers or even leads. Again, depending on where they are with video views, if you have a massive list of 3 or 10% video views, I would think about putting more content. For example, this show, I would keep this show in front of the 3% and the 5% and things like that if I was marketing that online because it's educational, it's providing value. Then once you get them to that 50%, 75%, I think you can be more direct and just tell them what you have and how you can help them, and they will appreciate that. And if you go back to what we talked about earlier, the whole insider trading thing, if I know that a person has a specific problem that I'm targeting and I know that I have the solution, I believe it's our moral obligation to put that in front of them. And you can tell them that, hey, if you're watching this video, I know you've seen a lot of my content, a lot of my information, this is gonna help you solve XYZ problem. Go check it out here.
Okay.
You could literally be that direct at that point.
In general, this is a very broad stroke I'm painting here. In general, what percent of someone's total gross revenue can be or should be allocated to lead generation?
I'm going to give you the safe rule.
Okay.
Let's just say 10 to 15%.
Okay, that was my guess.
Right.
Okay.
I would like you to stretch yourself a little bit more if you have the right funnel in place. Because right now it's so cheap, it's so inexpensive. And I don't want you guys to be where I was when I learned. I was on Google AdWords in the beginning when it was 5 cents to be on keywords that now cost you $100 a click, right?
Isn't that insane?
So
Wow.
Right now it's so inexpensive to buy. So that's why I would say stretch a little bit right now while it's still cheap. And but don't put yourself into the poorhouse.
So, okay, we're gonna pivot.
Okay.
We always talk about Facebook. There's YouTube. What is the thing that you see that is emerging now as something that people really need to consider for lead gen that a lot of people just aren't doing yet?
They're fixated on social media billboard advertising versus understanding the power of search.
Okay, search, Google search?
Google search, YouTube ads, keyword ads, and that's where I live.
Because that's not necessarily disruptive because people are searching for that particular thing, and so your pre-roll video, as an example, that's the video that comes before the YouTube video. That has to be specifically relative to the type of query someone did on YouTube.
Yeah, but not all the time. Like sometimes you see people interrupting videos and it has nothing to do with the video. I'm talking about like straight keyword search ads with YouTube videos. So if someone is searching for, the best, furniture deals or something on YouTube, I don't know why they would, but I'm just making that up, and your ad was how to find the best furniture deals, and they watch that video, and then they click your website, then you start retargeting them on social media, and imagine your retargeting audience, that audience that you're marketing to on social media. That's kind of the world I play in.
Interesting, yeah. Okay. I'm just wondering how do you know anything about like Alexa and some of this sort of thing that's happening? I've been hearing different people talking about, how you can create these different rules or learning parameters for Alexa and some of the other AI and voice-activated personal assistants or whatever you want to call them. I mean, that's so rapidly evolving. But is there a way to do lead gen with that as well?
I don't know. I don't play in that world yet.
Okay, all right. You know,
when it comes out,
I know we're gonna have to have you back so we can talk about that, because to me, I just heard Chris Brogan talking about this on a podcast, and it was just fascinating. And it's so rapidly evolving, but you know, and I forget the exact number, but as an example, like with the Amazon Alexa, there's 35 million people that use it daily or weekly.
Wow.
And if you can use that for sales of e-com or lead gen or different things like that, it's going to evolve so quickly that is going to become a major component. So that's going to be something. Now, when we come back, he's going to be like a world-class expert in that, because I know how fast he moves. I know how fast you move. Like he's going to come back and say, "Oh yeah, you know, this is how we're getting leads for like 3.2 cents a piece or something."
Never know.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great.
Now that would increase that ad spend.
That would.
Let's see. What is the one takeaway for our viewers that? The one hard lesson you've had as an entrepreneur that if you can bestow that wisdom and experience to them to shortcut their path to success, what is that?
Build your email list.
I agree.
And I know that people say email is dead.
No, it's not.
It's not? Well, here's the thing. When you get a person's email, and I talked about this, you're at my event, it's the first micro commitment that they make, right? So regardless if they never open up that email, today on every social media platform, you can upload that email list and advertise to them on any platform. Mm-hmm. So for me, building an email list, if Facebook goes down tomorrow, I can still connect with my audience and say, hey, I'm on this new platform. And trust me, we've seen that happen many times. People get the pinch or the squeeze and they're dead. So I definitely would be building your email list, and that is the biggest piece of advice that I could possibly give you. I
agree. And let me just give a little caveat here too. Anytime you get an email from someone marketing a program that says email is dead, buy this instead, how are they marketing to you? They're actually using email to tell you that email is dead and you need to do something else. And it's also, there's irony there, but email will always be around. Things will ebb and flow, but people still use it. It's incredibly effective. I've built several businesses primarily on email marketing way before I did any paid advertising on social media. It's critical, and also it doesn't get you in trouble like what you could get in trouble with one of those 3-letter government agencies for sending text messages to people. You have to be super careful with that.
Absolutely.
But that's another show, another time. Vince Reed, thank you so much. I want everyone to know how they can reach you. So, and you have a new book too.
I do. You can get that at internettrafficandleads.com. And I'm on Facebook, Vince Reed Live, on pretty much every platform, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Cool. All right. He's one of the good guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm John Spencer Ellis. You have just experienced the Entrepreneur Show. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Hi, my name is John Spencer Ellis, and I want to help you reach all of your personal, professional, physical, and financial goals. You have greatness within you, and sometimes you just need a coach, a trainer, and a mentor to help you realize your full potential. Since the age of 12, I have immersed myself in the study and practice of maximizing human potential, physically, mentally, personally, professionally, and financially. I believe you and I have so much to offer, to experience, and to give to the world. It's time for you to step into your brilliance and shine like you're supposed to right now. I invite you to learn how I can help you reach your goals and dreams. Thanks for your time.